Hey, welcome back everyone, Old Bubs here. I've had several requests to put together a full collection video, so I am doing that for you right now. I don't know if you're like me, I love looking at full collection videos because I think every single person's knife collection tells you a ton about them and what they find value in. And my collection is not the most robust collection out there, but I think that every single knife in this collection is a good one and a good one to have. And so I'm just going to go through these as quickly as I can and put some categories down in the description. So you can kind of pick and choose and skip if there's a particular section that you're interested in. Without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to start with my Benchmades. And so we're going to start first here with the Benchmade Mini Crooked River. Now this is a fantastic knife design. I've featured it on the channel several times. This is one of my favorites overall, and it is just a really good expression of the axis lock, which is this bar locking mechanism if you're not familiar. It's a solid blade steel in S30V thumb stud deployment. It's very smooth and it's a good blade shape for outdoor purposes as well as EDC. It's the Benchmade Mini Crooked River. We have my black and purple bug out. Now this was my only knife for a long time that I carried. This is kind of the predecessor to the rest of the collection. This knife got me into these knives, Benchmade specifically, as well as other brands. It was kind of my jumping point into this game, and I've actually collected almost everything that's on the table within about a calendar year, but that's because for a long time I was really just putting this in my pocket. This is rock scale designs, titanium scales, the back spacer, purple hardware, purple thumb stud, and the black blade S30V as well. This is a really great knife. It's a Benchmade bug out. Another bug out because you can't just have one. This is the 535-3 Benchmade bug out in carbon fiber S90V steel. And I really love how they did the cutaway with the aluminum blue backspacer there. This is also a great knife. I've had other bug outs, and I've given them to some friends because I think they're such a great knife to get started with. The Benchmade 940. This one's almost stock. This is an absolutely legendary knife in the EDC world. It really is a fantastic performing tool. I really like it. I like carrying it a lot. I love the anodized green aluminum. I love this pink backspacer in there. The blade shape is really strong. It's not the sliciest knife ever, but I've found that if you put a little bit of a higher bevel on them, that they really do come to life and slice a lot better, and you still get all the strength that this blade offers. And the 940 is absolutely a wonderful, stunning knife, and the action on it is so smooth. Another great expression of the axis lock. And here I have a Benchmade 945 that I did the shipwreck scales on. These are copper scales from Flytanium that I'll put a little card in the corner here if you want a breakdown step-by-step on how to do this to a knife. I've actually done this forced patina for several other friends that is like even bolder than this one. I really like how this one came out, but it really does come out different every time, and I'd encourage you to watch that video because it's a good one. That's all the Benchmades that I have currently in my collection. And next, the category that we're gonna do is we're gonna do a budget-ish category. And I don't remember exactly the price of every single one of these, but these are all going to be knives that hit that budget category that for my channel I will say is somewhere around $100. Now it's important to note that there are many of these knives that are far lower than the $100 price point, but that's our threshold to be in this category. First off, we have a couple of NAFS Landers. If you watch the channel, you know that I'm a big fan of this knife. This is a Ben Peterson design. It's with the NAFSCO label. I have a black and a satin one, and these are scales that are also offered by NAFS. They come, this one came in a blue, this one came in a black, and you can swap those out, and it's super cool, super easy, fun knife. Enough said about that. They're D2 steel. The base knife starts at about $58. We have a CRKT pillar. This is an 8CR blade steel. This is actually pretty new to me. I just picked it up. This is a little copper scale. I think this is one of those knives that I might give to a friend or do something else with. Probably won't get a bunch of pocket time, but I do think it's a really cool design, and I like the opening hole, a nice frame lock. It's a really good knife, and this is I think these are like $30. Got the CJRB Pyrite. This is an absolutely fantastic knife, button lock. Just really smooth, great action, works wonderfully. This is in that AR RPM 9 proprietary steel, the Artisan Cutlery. You have a Kaiser Mini Sheepdog and a really nice micarta and CPM 10V steel. I love this blade shape. This is a really fun knife. Got, of course, everyone has to have a Rat 2. Or Rat 1, or both. I actually have another Rat 2 that's kicking around in my car, but I didn't bring it up here. Then we have a QSP Penguin. This is in 154cm. This is titanium frame lock, green anodized. This is another really great knife. The Penguin comes in other budget form factors, but I went for the titanium in 154cm. I really do like it. This is a great knife. It's very smooth. I love the blade shape, and it functions really well. It's a great cutter. All right, next, shifting, but staying in the budget realm. These are all going to be Civivis. I am a big fan of Civivi knives, especially for the price point. There's been a price creep going on, but I think Civivi still makes a really good knife for the price and the value. This is the Mini Praxis. This is a very new model. It's in D2 and G10. It runs on bearings, and it's a very smooth flipper tab knife. I'd really recommend this for a first flipper tab knife if you're looking for something like that. I've done another video of a full review of this that I'll put a card up here for you to click on if you're interested in that. You can also just check out my channel and look through all the playlists. This is the Civivi Mini Praxis. These are like $30. It's a fantastic knife for the price. This one is a Civivi Altus. I have it in the Damascus from Civivi. Civivi's proprietary Damascus and green micarta. Another button lock, thumb stud. It's a really, really nice knife. Just decent little basic blade shape. I like it a lot. And it's Civivi makes a pretty approachable knife to get in a fancier package of Damascus and micarta. If you like that look and that's something you want to go with. Continue on, you'll see that I'm really into button locks. So this is the Civivi Conspirator. This is a Nitro V and black micarta. I really do just love the button lock mechanism, so I have a lot of them. You'll see that as a theme throughout this collection. Civivi Conspirator, very good knife, big, robust. It's almost like a tactical slash gentleman's folder. Really big, robust blade here to work with. And Nitro V is a tougher steel. It's not holding an edge great for some folks, probably me included, but you know, in the price point, it's a really nice choice. This is the Civivi Chevalier. This is in C14 28N and G10. With all these Civivis, they come in a bunch of different configurations. Another button lock. This is just a really solid knife. I love that blade shape. I'm a big fan of Sheepsfoot, Warncliffes, those sorts of blade shapes. I think that they provide a lot of utilitarian benefit. Civivi Chevalier. It's the Civivi Cogent, which I think is my favorite of these button locks. And I think it might just be like this one is just so perfect. I love black and purple. This is also C14 28N, and this one, like the action on it is just so snappy. I really have a good time with it. Then last for the Civivis, this is an Elementum and titanium scales from Flytanium, and then Civivi also has upgraded milled titanium pocket clips for all of their 2-hole models, so any of these could sport this clip, but it obviously looks the best on this one. This is a D2 steel. The Elementum is great because it has a really nice hollow grind, so it's a really good cutter, and it is just, it's a basic flipper tab liner lock knife, but I think, in the price point, and this one, of course, has cost me more to deck it out like this, but I like it a lot more in these titanium scales. I think it gives it a really sweet look. But the Elementum, if you're looking for kind of a first pocket knife to jump into, it's a classic for that, and it is a really good knife. You'll have a good cutting experience, which, is kind of the primary reason to have a knife. So with that, we'll move on from Civivi. And speaking of cutting experience, we'll move on to Spyderco, which cutting experience is the best part about every Spyderco. This is a Spyderco Delica 4 in VG10. You can see that it's kind of goobered up, and it's been sharpened a lot of times. It's almost unrecognizable on the blade shape, and that's because this was, I even had this knife before I had the bug out, and this is what I carried for quite a while. I mean, I would say I carried this guy for like 5 years exclusively and did a lot of stuff with it before I got really into collecting pocket knives and checking out other stuff that was out there. The Delica is, I think, a pretty good knife to start kids or, like middle schoolers or high schoolers out on, because a lockback is a really strong mechanism, and it can be open and closed one-handed. There's tricks with these Delicas to, do the rock and then close. They do break in a little bit better than this, but I'd never have fidgeted with this knife. But it discourages fidgeting, which I fidget with my knife all the time, but I would say that it is not a safe and good activity to be doing with your knives. So I have a Crew Carta Paramilitary 2. This is a CPM crew wear and my Carta scales. This has seen a lot of pocket time. It's a good knife. Really enjoy it. The PM2 is obviously a standby. The cutting power of the PM2 is excellent. I only have one PM2 at the moment, but that is certainly something that I'd like to deck out another PM2 old Bub style. We have a Shaman. This is in CPM M4 and my Carta. This was a Blade HQ exclusive. The Shaman is an excellent knife using the compression lock just like the PM2. And they give you this front flipper, which is nice. And this is just a big chunk of a knife. But the ergos on the Shaman are just excellent. If you haven't held a Shaman, I mean, it's a large knife. It's a big carry profile. But in your hands, it makes sense. Of all of my knives, this is one that if I happen to get lost in the woods, this is one that I would be very, very happy if this was the knife that I landed in the woods with. It would do a lot of cutting. The only downside to that is that this one is M4, which is not very corrosion resistant, but you can imagine that the cutting power would be there. Next, I have a Spyderco Manix 2 in Rex 45 and this burnt orange G10. I have done the Flytanium ball cage upgrade to a ceramic ball and then the aluminum cage. The Manix 2 is such a stiff knife out of the box, but if you haven't worked to break through it, the Manix is actually probably my smoothest shutting knife with absolutely zero blade play. The spring is tighter, but man, the more you carry, the more you use a Manix, it just gets so smooth. And the blade shape, again, is incredible. The flat grind on it just slices through anything. Rex 45 is really similar to M4 as a steel. I mean, there are differences, but as far as functionality of what you're going to be experiencing, the M4 and Rex 45 are extremely similar. Very tough, very edge retentive, not very corrosion resistant, difficult to sharpen. But I would say commit to learning how to sharpen. So I have a little bit of a bias here because I run a knife sharpening business, but I think any of these steels can take a great edge. You just have to work at it and learn and continue to grow. Now we got pair 3. This is an S45 VN and Flytanium flat scales. You can probably see that I like to tinker. I like to update knives and put different scales on them. It's super fun to give them a little semi-custom flair. We got a purple lanyard tube. Nice Blurple clip. This comes from Lynch Northwest. I think every Spyderco should have a Lynch Northwest clip because they are excellent. Pair 3, I think is probably actually my favorite Spyderco design to carry. It's just the ratios for my hand are just perfect. I mean, it just nestles in there, and I find that I'm reaching for a pair of 3 most of the time when I'm doing a household chore or activity where I know that I'm going to be cutting a bunch of stuff open, because it's just a great cutter. It's a fantastic profile, edge geometry, and it's just comfortable. It's comfortable to make cut after cut with. That's the pair of 3. We got another pair of 3. This one in Maximet, and these are Lotus scales from Flytanium in an anodized green. Another Lynch Northwest pocket clip. This knife is relatively new to me, and I just did the scale swap. And testing out Maximet, I've heard a lot of things about it. It's an incredibly edge retentive steel, not very tough, really hard to sharpen. I mean, it's kind of just boasting edge retention, edge retention, edge retention. It's what you get if you're trying to only focus on one element of the steel, and you get that. And I'm excited to use it, try it a whole bunch more. I love how this scale and blade combo came out. It just looks awesome. And this is definitely going to get lots of pocket time for me, especially for a while I'm testing out Maximet and testing out sharpening Maximet. It came sticky from the factory, though, that's for sure. Most of the time when you get a Spyderco, it comes real sticky sharp. All right, moving on from Spydercos. All right, now we're going to go into a brief odds and ends category. Real quick, we have the Wee Big Banter. Love this thing. This is another Ben Peterson design. This is in my Carta in 20 CV. This is a new knife that came out at the end of 2022. It is so smooth, so great. Can't say enough good things about this knife. The shape, the comfort, cutting ability, high-end steel choice, relatively low price tag. I think these are $150, which obviously is not a small amount of money to spend on any kind of object. But when you look across the knife landscape and the knife world, what they're offering there, especially with the build quality of Wii, it's a really nice knife in that price range. We also have, in this odds and ends category, the original Ben Peterson design, the Banter, which I absolutely love. This is an S35 VN and this Ben Blue G10. This knife is so smooth, so fun to fidget with, and it's just a great cutter. It fits my hand pretty well. I do find I wish that there was a Banter 0.5 right in between these two. I think there's room for Ben to add another size to his lineup, which is really funny if you know the history of where there's the Banter, then the baby Banter, then he made the big Banter. And I think Ben was a little bit sassy in how big he made the big Banter because of people asking him to make a big knife that kind of breaks his rules of what he thinks a pocket knife should be. There's probably an in-between here that would sell really well, and I wouldn't be surprised if Ben gives us that. This is a $155. This was a 2021 special edition. This one is in S30V, which is not a steel you see a ton on Buck, but they're doing more and more of them. This is a fat carbon, got nickel bolsters, and this is just the classic lockback knife. This knife is my I'm not carrying a knife. Just slip it down in the pocket. Obviously, I don't try to take it into stadiums and stuff. I wouldn't advise that. But this is one of those knives when I don't want to have a pocket clip and I just want to have a little something in case I need to, cut a thread or open an envelope or something, or just a little simple cutting task needs done, and I'm at a special occasion or something like that. That is a little bit of a pocket jewelry for me to know about. No one else. It just sinks down into the pocket. This is a Lion Steel TRE, or 3 Rapid Exchange. This is a frame lock knife that you can swap. You can put a thumb stud on here, you can have a flipper tab, or you can remove both. So there's 3 different combinations that you can have of the knife. And this is a really nice knife. It's milled well, the bearings work. The detent and the flipper tab are just not perfectly tuned, but this is a really nice, kind of fun grind on an M390 blade. This is a really classy knife. Lion Steel makes really fun stuff, and I really would like to get more of their things into my lineup, as this has been a great knife. It isn't one that I carry a whole lot. Sometimes what we gravitate towards is a little bit inexplicable, but this is a great knife that I'm happy to have. It's the Lion Steel 3 Rapid Exchange. Then we have the Hogue RSK. This is 20 CV Tan G10. These knives are a great value. I mean, if you're someone that watches other folks in the knife community, you'll know that this is an excellent offering. Very similar to a Benchmade Griptilian. Doug Ritter is the one who originally designed that. You can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about how all the inner workings of that works. But that's what I believe to be true. And this is a great axis lock style knife. Very comfortable in the hands. For some reason, the way that these scales contour makes it something that I don't carry all that often. But I'll say this edge came best from the factory of almost any knife that I've ever opened a box of. Opened up a box and felt the original edge. I actually still haven't even sharpened this one, and I've carried it quite a few times. It's very smooth, and it's just like, it is a very good cutter. These blade shapes, while still being pretty robust, are very, very slicey. That is the Hogue RSK. Next up, we have the Demkos of the crew. So this is going to seem a little redundant here, and it is. So first, I have an 80 20.5 in D2 in micarta. Then I have an 80 20.5 in AUS 10A and Flytanium wavelength scales. Then I have an 80 20.5 in CPM 3V, and then Rock Scale Design titanium critter scales. Now, I love the 80 20.5, and this one is the one that I just got the most recently, because I've been following this knife along as different things have come out, and I have really liked this model. It is fantastic. I love the shark lock. It's just a great mechanism for opening and closing a knife. It's very strong, and they're incredibly fidgety, and they just, like, the ergonomics on them are great. They're a big, robust blade stock. Sharpen up well. So I've just kind of elevated each one as the blade steel has improved. I look forward, as I refine my collection, for an opportunity to be generous, and I anticipate that some of these Demkos will not stay with me forever. I can't imagine parting ways with this one, but I think either of the other two on the table might be a great option for a giveaway in the future. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss things I have going on in the future. And then last, this is my newest knife to my collection overall. This is the Demko AD20S in CPM M4 and purple G10. This is the US version. This thing is fantastic. I just posted a video of unboxing this and just the great amount of joy that this brought me. Since then, I have carried it virtually every day, and I can say that the carry experience does not disappoint. I have not giant hands, but not small hands either. I typically wear a glove size large, 2 extra large, just depending. And this knife has not felt any too big, actually. I think just like the Shaman, it fits in your hand so well that it, while being a big knife, giving you a big O cutting edge, big O blade stock, it's really reasonable. Oh, I got some stuff on it. I know a lot of people take these US Demkos and don't use them, but you know, in the end, I am a user of my pocket knives. I like carrying them. There's none of them that I don't ever carry. I don't have a single pocket knife that I have decided that I'm just going to lock away in a cabinet. And that's just kind of how I like to operate. And this one has been fantastic. Last but not least, we have, minus the AD20, we have just the other unique category of odds and ends of my favorites. We have a ProTech Malibu. This is in M390 and of course aluminum. Another button lock. I really like the ProTech Malibu. It's a kind of hard to get knife, and for what it is and materials and all that, it is a little bit on the pricier side. Obviously, you've already seen more expensive knives on the table, but the ProTech Malibu is a great knife and a great value, even at its a higher price tag, and it's worth trying to get one. I mean, this is a very smooth knife, and this is one of those knives that when I let my buddies open a package with it or something, they're like, oh wow, that is really nice. I've had a lot of non-knife people be very impressed when they use this knife, and it's because it's excellent. It's a ProTech Malibu. This is a CJRB Pyrite. This is the Blade HQ exclusive in the S35 VN and the purple fat carbon. This one is so near and dear to my heart because it's black and purple, which is my favorite color scheme, favorite color, what I wore on my wedding day. And this knife has just been awesome. You can see it's all gunky because I have used it a lot, carried it quite a bit since I got it. And the button on this is just breaking in even better. Still no blade play, and this has just been an excellent knife and a really good showing out of what CJRB and Artisan Cutlery can do on higher end stuff rather than just the budget version of this knife. I look forward to more and more out of them as we go forward. This is the Urban EDC f5.5. This knife is just incredible. I love the blackout. I mean, I definitely want more of these knives. This is something that is one of those models that I think I see duplicates in my future. This is M390. This black is G10, and it's a smooth G10, which I don't know if you've held a lot of smooth G10 rather than the rough textured stuff. I love it. It's really nice. It fits in the hand so well. This is just a great little knife. It's got a decent enough carry profile, but ergonomically speaking, it just fits great in so many different grips. And it is just a great cutter. Very slicey blade. It's held in edge wonderfully. I have just hit this on the strop a couple of times, and it is still just hair popping, shaving sharp. Big fan of this knife, the Urban EDC f5.5. That's a Jesper Voxnay's design. I probably butchered his name. This is the Tactile Rockwall in CPM Magna Cut and titanium. Tactile is a knife company out of Texas. Same company as Tactile Turn that makes really great pens. This is just an excellent knife in every way. Beautifully smooth action. Just a liner lock executed to perfection. I love just the little thin profile of it all, and you just get this thin little slicey cutty blade. This is really well done. This was their first design. The flipper came before the thumb stud, but the Rockwall is their first model, and they've had other knives come out and have a couple on the way that I'm very excited about. Tactile makes great stuff. This was also a gift from my wife, so it is near and dear to my heart, one of my favorites. We have the Vero Engineering Axon. This is in stonewashed titanium and stonewashed M390. Vero is a company that's really exploding. They're making a lot of great knives. They have several models that I would like to get a hold of. Vero is very hard to get a hold of, and you definitely have to be ready. Have your if you're wanting to get a Vero, you need to have your little envelopes stuffed to the side with Vero cash in it, ready to jump on a drop that comes out. He's releasing knives like crazy, but they do sell out quick. It's getting a little bit better, but really just fantastic designs. I mean, if you like the look of this is kind of the aesthetic that you have going throughout his knives, and they're really beautiful designs. Definitely a head turner. The Axon is a bigger knife, so while it also, it makes a big impact, it's one of those that you don't necessarily want to whip open in a crowded lunchroom because it makes an impact and people look at it. But it's absolutely one of my favorites. And then the last knife of the collection is the Winter Blade Co. Factor. This knife is a batch 1 of the Factor. I was just one of the lucky 200 that got to grab one of these when they first came out. This is just a fantastic knife, a great design, very innovative, using magnets. Has just the greatest sound ever. There we go. That ting that the Factor makes is like nothing else. It is such a fidgety knife, and it's incredible the way it just closes and locks back in there. I have nothing but good things to say about Winter Blade Co. and the innovation, the things that Brian Winters is doing with his knives. I've been super pleased with this. This is an M390 blade, titanium and carbon fiber. I mean, you basically get just a myriad of premium materials, and these are coming out. There's I think batch 2 is going to be sending out or shipping out really soon, so a bunch more people are going to have these. If you need to pick one up secondary, I would advise just waiting until more are on the way and get ready to buy one. He also has the Mirage, which is an assisted magnetic knife, coming out. I pre-ordered that one. I'm very excited to have it and have it on the channel. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that video. Thank you so much for watching. It truly means the world to me. Please leave me a comment as to what my collection is missing, what I could be looking at. Comment down there some of the knives that you have in your collection that are the favorite. One of the best things about the knife community and the EDC community is that it truly is a community, and I'm so glad to be a part of it. I'm so glad that you all are watching and you're subscribing to my channel. It's very exciting to be growing something from the ground up. Many more things in store ahead for the Old Bubs YouTube channel as well as the Old Bubs Premium Sharpening Service. I'm so excited that you're joining me in this journey. If you're still with me at the end of this video, it was a long one. Thank you so much for sticking it out. I hope that as you go out, that love and light fill your life. I'll see you next time.